Signal, track mic Thanks for joining us for NewsCenter at 5:30. I'm Julian Grace.
And I'm Stacey Russell.
Investigators are learning more about the anthrax bacteria that killed a New York woman yesterday, but they still have no solid leads on how she was infected. A Centers for Disease Control doctor says the anthrax strain is indigestible, from the kind that was found in letters sent to the Capitol Hill and media outlets. And he says tests for anthrax spores in Kathy Newwin's clothing have come back negative. Investigators are trying to piece together her last days before she died to find out how she was infected.
Employees of a maintenance center in Indianapolis are taking antibiotics as a precaution after anthrax spores were found on a postal machine. A small amount of anthrax was discovered on the machine at the Critical Parts Center, which is near Indianapolis International Airport. The center does not process mail, but postal machines are cleaned and repaired at the site. Governor O'Bannon said yesterday that the equipment was believed to have been sent from the Brentwood Mail Processing Center in the Washington, D.C. area. 2 Brentwood employees recently died after inhaling anthrax.
A postal service facility in Kansas City, Missouri has also tested positive for anthrax spores. The bacteria was found after preliminary tests were conducted on garbage bags that contained mail from the Brentwood postal facility. The mail in those bags was set aside for direct shipment to Kansas City and did not go through normal postal machines. Officials say the spores pose no threat to the public and that none of the facility's 200 employees have been exposed.
A bad joke has landed one man in jail. David Jones was arrested Friday after an anthrax joke at a Delaware County truck stop. Jones left a note at the Hoosier Heartland Truck Plaza claiming anthrax had been left in the men's restroom. According to court documents, Jones, a janitor at the truck stop, admitted to state police that he placed a white powdery substance on the counter with a threatening note. The substance was later determined not to be anthrax. Jones is being charged with conveying false information and faces a 5-year prison term.
Airstrikes in northern Afghanistan today target Taliban positions near the strategically important city of Mazar-Sharif. The Taliban ambassador of Pakistan says Taliban troops in the area repelled 3 Northern Alliance attacks. The Northern Alliance says it is moving troops near the city, but denied launching any advance. Bombers pounded battle lines between the Taliban and Northern Alliance troops around an airport near Kabul yesterday. The attacks included precision strikes by more than 30 jets.
A Northwest Airlines jet made an unscheduled stop this morning at Detroit's Metro Airport. Flight 191 was carrying 78 passengers from Washington, D.C.'s Reagan International Airport to Minneapolis when the pilot was alerted of a possible threat to the aircraft. Northwest spokeswoman Kathy Peach says a passenger found a note tucked into a magazine in the seat pocket of the plane. The pilot decided to land in Detroit as a precaution. The request to land prompted the dispatch of 2 F-16s to escort the plane to Detroit.
And Rebecca Clark joins us now. Rebecca, it was kind of gloomy day out there today.
It was, and there's a threat of rain. It's going to depend on how fast a cold front moves into the area. But currently outside, it is 69 degrees, our humidity standing at 51%, and our winds are coming out of the south at kind of a gusty 17 miles per hour. I'll have the latest on the forecast in just a bit.
Thanks, Rebecca. A task force of students and administrators has set new guidelines for tailgating before football games at Ball State.
NewsCenter Alyssa Rossum joins us now with the details. Alyssa, what can Ball State students expect before football games now?
Well, there have been a number of guidelines set in place for tailgating in response to what Dean of Students Randy Hyman calls out-of-control crowds. Tailgating will now begin at 10 a.m. and end at 1 p.m. Glass bottles, kegs, hard liquor, and indoor furniture, such as couches, will not be allowed in the tailgating area. Tailgaters are also encouraged to bring ID, as there will be random checks of people who appear to be under the legal drinking age. Hyman says they will increase the number of on-duty police officers to enforce these new guidelines, which are not harsh compared to some other universities.
We've done a lot of study of other universities, some in our own Mid-American Conference and others around the country, and in most all of those instances, those institutions have put in place guidelines very similar to our own. In fact, many have far more restrictive guidelines than what we have developed and adopted here.
While some students are afraid the enjoyment will be taken out of tailgating, Hyman says there will still be lots of safe, responsible fun. The tailgating guidelines will be enforced for this Saturday's football game. Reporting live from the news desk, Alyssa Rossum at NewsCenter 43.
Thanks, Alyssa Rossum.
University police officials say a fire near the architecture building Tuesday evening contained an obvious indication of arson. According to police reports, the tea house next to the architecture building caught fire at about 11:49 p.m. Officers arrived to find large amounts of smoke coming from the building. According to Brian Sinclair, chairman of the Department of Architecture, the tea house is used for Japanese tea ceremonies. While Sinclair could give no financial estimate on the damage done to the tea house, he did say it was significant.
McKinley, construction on Ball State's new music instruction building has been rescheduled for next March. Contractors' bids were above architects' estimates, and university officials now look for ways to get a better building for less money. Ball State plans to continue state utility work this fall and to rebid the building after the first of the year. Most of the parking lot at the corner will remain open until further notice.
Coming up when NewsCenter 43 returns, British Prime Minister Tony Blair is urging both Israelis and Palestinians to try and find a way back to peace talks.
And 2 Palestinians were killed today in a helicopter accident. We'll have the details after the break. Stay tuned.
There's been more violence in the Middle East as efforts continue to restart the peace process there. 2 Palestinians were killed in a helicopter attack in the West Bank today. Also, Israeli gunships fired missiles at a car near the city of Tulkarem. Israeli officials have not confirmed reports that the men killed were Hamas militants. As the fighting continues, British Prime Minister Tony Blair is urging both Israelis and Palestinians to try and find a way back to a viable peace process. Blair met Israeli Foreign Minister Shimon Peres in Jerusalem today. He's on a Middle East tour aimed at gaining support for the military campaign in Afghanistan and calming the ongoing regional conflict. Blair also held a joint news conference with Prime Minister Ariel Sharon. Sharon says Israel is prepared to make compromises for the sake of peace.
But no compromise at all will be made that will affect the security of the residents, the inhabitants of the State of Israel, and their welfare.
Minister Blair will also meet with Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat today. In Pakistan, the official word in gun shops is no high-powered weapons.
But in the town of Quetta, as reporter Carolyn Lynn found out, if you ask, you can get just about any gun you want.
It's pretty clear in the frontier town of Quetta that the average family's idea of home protection means more than just a handgun.
And you've got Kalashnikov, Russian Kalashnikov, then you've got Chinese Kalashnikov, then you've got local-made Kalashnikov, which are obviously not as good as the Russian or Chinese ones.
When Pakistan outlawed high-powered weapons and demanded citizens turn in their guns, no one seemed surprised when doctors, lawyers, shopkeepers showed up with an arsenal powerful enough to outfit an army. Police showed us just a fraction of the automatic rifles, the rocket launchers, and the hand grenades that people turned into the government in the last year. Today, possessing an automatic gun could get you life in prison. But this is Pakistan's Wild West, where a man is measured by the size of his weapon, and guns are still easy to get.
What's that?
In downtown Quetta, gun dealer Haji Kasim says he only sells low-caliber hunting rifles, which are still legal for sportsmen with a government license. But as he showed us what's in stock, our translator overheard the store clerk assuring 2 men he could help them get automatic weapons, but to come back when the TV camera was gone. How do people get banned weapons? The deals are easily made after dark. It only took a couple of hours for a gun dealer's salesman to meet us. After a drive through town and up a dirt road, we ended up in a vacant lot where he pulled out a 9mm automatic handgun.
What is it?
Ours for $100.
Not licensed. Untraceable.
For another $100, he said he could get a Kalashnikov rifle. We said no. But plenty of people stay well armed.
If we have a gun, we're feeling very protective.
Storekeepers still quietly stash their weapons. We're told the dry cleaner on this street owns a Kalashnikov. Pakistan's government says it still confiscates 150 illegal guns every day. But authorities admit for every weapon collected, they have no idea how many citizens are still heavily armed. Carol Lynn, CNN, Quetta, Pakistan.
We'll continue to keep you updated on the Palestinian and Israeli peace talks.
Starting today, drivers in New York State must keep their hands on the wheel and off their cell phones. Police plan to start enforcing the nation's first statewide law banning handheld cell phones use while driving. For the first month, offenders will get a warning and a brochure. But after December 1st, first-time offenders will face a $100 fine. New York drivers can use headsets for special earpieces. Similar bans are being considered by 42 other states.
Well, Rebecca Clark, we had kind of a warm day today, I thought.
Kind of warm and gloomy with all the clouds, but looks like this weekend should shape up for Family Weekend here at Ball State. I'll have the complete forecast when NewsCenter at 5:30 continues. Taking a look at our weather almanac for this November 1st, 2001, the high topped out today at 69 degrees, well above the normal high at 57. The low this morning at 51. The sun will set this evening at 5:37 and will rise tomorrow morning at 7:12. Highs across the state of Indiana, Muncie 69 and 70s for most of the southwestern part of the state. Currently outside, mostly cloudy, 69 degrees. Our humidity standing at 51%, and our winds coming out of the south at almost a gusty 17 miles per hour. Here's a look at the big picture of the national satellite. There's a cold front boundary right in this region here. It's going to be pushing over us into the overnight hours and could possibly bring some precipitation, depending on how fast it moves through the area. The radar image, and for tonight, the cold front continues to go ahead and push through, and right in front of it, just a little bit of precipitation. No thunder showers or anything severe to worry about, just some light showers into the overnight hours. The lows for tonight will be sitting in the 50s, about 51 degrees for Muncie. Tonight, like I said, the low down to 51, a chance for some light rain and winds out of the southwest at 12 miles an hour. As you wake up tomorrow morning, continued isolated showers, temperature at 57 degrees, and winds out of the southwest at 13. So the wind's beginning to pick up a little to push that cold front right on through the area. And for tomorrow, here's a look at the map. The cold front will continue to push through, and behind it some high pressure going to be bringing us some cool and dry weather for this weekend for the home football game. Here's tomorrow's highs. We'll be sitting in the mid to upper 60s for the Muncie area. And for tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds as the front continues to go ahead and go through and behind with the high pressure, high up to 64 degrees, and winds changing from west to northwest 10 miles an hour. And for the extended forecast, a look into the weekend on Saturday, partly sunny skies, high up to 64. Sunday, sunny skies, high of 60. And Monday, clouds pop back in the picture, high of 58 degrees.
So it's not going to be great weather, but it'll be good enough to walk around the classes tomorrow. And
oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Great.
Sounds good. Ricky Simler joins us now with our first look at sports. Now, Ricky, sometimes we neglect the high school world. What's happening in high school sports?
Yes, we do neglect the high school world, and we're going to talk about high school volleyball and football coming up next in sports.
Man, I said high school world. It's like, what was I talking about?
Head coach Bill Lynch said before the Ball State football season started, his defensive unit was going to be good. He didn't know it would take the defense until Game 5 of the season to prove him right. After 4 consecutive losses and a defense that was allowing 32 points a game, the Cardinals' D has finally come alive. During the team's 3-game winning streak, the defense has allowed opponents just 13 points a game. Coach Lynch knows his defense has to play well this week against a good Central Michigan team.
I think our defense is playing pretty well right now, and our defense has played well against the run, and I think that's one of the things that Central has made dramatic improvement this year in their ability to run the football. So it's going to be very important that we play the kind of defense it takes to stop them from running and make them one-dimensional and make them throw the football.
We'll be looking to remain perfect in MAC West play Saturday against Central Michigan. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. With winning comes expectations. That's the idea of the Ball State women's basketball team will have to deal with all season long. After coming off the most successful season in school history with a 19-9 record and 5 starters back, the team is poised to make a run for the MAC championship. The Cardinals will be in action tonight in an exhibition game against RTU Kondikia. Game time is at 7 p.m. at Worthen Arena. The women's basketball team has the floor tonight at Worthen Arena, but the men's team has it tomorrow. Tim Buckley's team takes on Marathon basketball at 7 p.m. Guard Patrick Jackson says his teammates were ready to see some different competition.
Beating up on each other for, like 2-3 weeks now, so it's going to be good to be able to get another team in here and see if what we're doing is really going to work and just see how we're all going to gel together.
Former Ball State basketball standout Bonzi Wells shined last night. Wells continued his impressive comeback from a torn anterior cruciate ligament, scoring a career-high 33 points to lead the Portland Trailblazers to a 92-87 win over the Golden State Warriors. Bonzi is competing for the starting shooting guard position with Derek Anderson. From the remaining high school football teams, the stakes will rise. It will be no different for the Muncie Central or Delta football teams this week. These two teams square off tomorrow night for the Sectional 12 championship. Both coaches have a lot of respect for the other team.
The big thing about Delta is right now they're the defending champs in this sectional. At one time they were ranked number 1 in our 4A rankings, and now they're 5th or 6th. I'm not sure which it is currently, but they're the team to beat. And at this point, we feel like if we have a right to be a sectional champion, then we have to beat the defending sectional champs.
They've got a good football team. I think that, when we watch them on film, there's nothing about Muncie Central that we're going to look past or whatever. I mean, it'll be a great matchup.
Kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. at Delta High School. The high school volleyball championships are this weekend, and Delaware County is represented well. In Class 2A, Muncie Burris will be looking for their 13th state championship. The Owls take on Trenton, who is making their first state championship appearance. Mitchell and Monrovia are the other two teams in Class 2A championship. In Class 3A, the number 1 ranked Delta Eagles will be making their 3rd state finals appearance. The Eagles are taking on the Hot Dogs of Frankfort High School. Also competing in Class 3A are Fort Wayne Lures and Providence. With the Yankees down 2-1 and Kurt Schilling on the mound, it seemed the Yankees dynasty could be in jeopardy. But could you believe this last night? The Yankee players believing in themselves. Tino Martinez in the bottom of the 9th here with a 2-run homer that would tie the game all at 3-all. Then Mr. Do-It-All Derek Jeter with a solo homer, the walk-off homer. It would win the game for the Yankees. Yankees win 4-3. Jeter says, when your number is called on, you have to produce.
It seems like every at-bat you have an opportunity to do something special. You have an opportunity to help out the team. So, people always talk about, well, we've been struggling at the plate. Who cares?
The series is now tied 2-all going into tonight's game, and I wanted to see Arizona win. I thought last night was a perfect chance if they were going to win this series. They had to win last night. I'm a little worried about them winning the World Series now.
I saw that home run. It was cool.
I actually turned it off. I thought they had it wrapped up, so I missed the home run.
Yeah, all eyes will be in New York tonight. Thanks, Wiki, for that report. And when we return, we'll have one last look at your weather forecast.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, I think everybody's excited about that game,